in the future, you're going to start seeing increased rates of European Americans, specifically in the Southeast territories of the United States, being a Shalom Mubarakut Mishpacha, peace and blessings family. It's never too late to master your Hebrew grammar. I just want to talk about a dream I had a few years ago. Now, I told a lot of people I was going to eventually start talking about my dreams and my visions that Yahuwah has given me. And I think Yahuwah wants me to talk about it because they're very deep. But I don't like to toot my own horn or talk about myself too much. So I kind of been avoiding doing that for some years now, actually. Some of the most phenomenal dreams I've had were like 2-3 years ago, and I haven't really talked about them. But I'm just going to talk about this one right now because I feel like it's going to come to pass soon. Just a feeling. Now, so I had this dream. By the way, my dreams are typically symbolic most of the time, and I'm just able to understand what they mean. I'm able to break it down because I have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I pray for it every day. So anyway, I was running through a swamp. The reason why I was running through a swamp is because a man of the Caucasian persuasion was chasing me through that swamp. And I'm scared. I'm just running. The reason why he was chasing me through the swamp is because he wanted me to run into the lake. Okay? There was a lake right here, algae. The algae looked like grass. And you could easily like fall into it, right? And this was his whole plan. He just wanted me to fall in there because he knew that there was alligators in there, okay? Now, this is the big point, guys. I think this dream took place in Florida. You know, I don't know. Obviously, it was just a dream. But I think this dream took place in Florida. I fall in the swamp. I'm in there with the alligators. But the alligators don't eat me. The alligators are just like respectful. They're just sitting there chilling. So he comes, he's just standing over, he's watching, trying to see if I'm getting ate by these alligators, and he ended up falling into the swamp too. He's like 3 feet away from me, fighting and trying to get out the water. And then big alligator. Now he getting twisted and stuff. I'm seeing the death roll and everything. I'm watching this stuff. I'm underwater looking up. And then while he's being turned around by this crocodilian creature, this man legit he transforms into a zebra before my eyes. He turns into a goddamn Oreo horse before my eyes. And I understood exactly what that meant. As soon as I woke up, Cap. It took a while for me to understand what this means, all right? It took a while for me to understand this. But not only is the zebra a prey animal, but also the white and the black represents the complementary forces of the universe. Good and evil, masculine and feminine, harmony and chaos. The karmatic cycle, what we call Alila Ki Alila, action for action, or YAH's judgment. Now let me explain that for a second, guys. What is the karmatic cycle and how does that relate to the complementary forces of the universe? Because before there was anything created in the universe, before Yahuwah decided to create anything, the universe was a neutral energy with the capacity of goodness and evil. So it had the potential of evil and it had the potential of good, but it was neither good or evil in the universe. It was what we call chaos. And chaos just means disorder. Nothing was put together yet. So, because the universe's original state is neutral, the energy that we give out wants to balance itself back into the neutral state. So what do I mean by that? Think about a swing. Think about you're at the park and you will see a swing, right? And you're pushing your, you're pushing your brother, you're pushing your sister, your friend, your child on the swing. You push them, they come back to you. You push them, they come back to you. Why does that work? Because essentially it just wants to sit there in the middle like this. That's what it wants to do. This is the swing's position when it's at rest. You pushed it, it came back to you. Boom, boom, boom. But it just wants to come back to rest. Because this is the original state of the swing. The original state of the universe is like this. But when we do bad things to others, they come right back to us. When we do good things to others, it comes right back to us. It depends on what side of the pendulum you're on. Now, you have to understand that this is what the world calls karma. But this is what we call action for action. This is what we call judgment. Think about water. Because water was what there all was at one point. All water has a surface tension. If I slap water, pop, I'm gonna put a dent in that water temporarily for like a split second. There's gonna be a dent in the water, but it eventually has to level out and be flat again. It has to go back to their resting state. That's where all energy in the universe wants to go, a resting state. But before it goes back to that resting state, the water's gonna dent and it's gonna splash up. And my face is right here, and I slap some water. That water's gonna slap me in the face. That energy that I gave out came back to me. If I shoot a gun, boom, it's gonna be recoil, right? So I want y'all to understand how the laws of physics, how the science of the universe correspond to even this spiritual science, what we call karma. So basically, once you put out negative energy into this world, the negative energy has to come back to you, and then it has to go back and back until it's essentially just neutral, till it's neutralized. So that's why when you do bad things, it can spiral out of control. And then eventually it dies down, right? That's why I got from the white and the black. These are complementary forces of the universe. Okay? I understood that this man turning into a zebra represents the karmatic cycle being completed, or their negative energy coming back upon them. Because if we go back in history in Florida, Caucasians were throwing our babies in the water to alligators, Pharaoh style. We're talking straight out the book of Exodus style. By the hundreds, if not by the thousands. And they were doing that in Florida, guys. So that negative energy, don't you think that has to come back on them? Now, speaking of the book of Exodus, once Pharaoh took all our firstborns and started throwing them into the river, what happened to all their firstborns? They died. So yeah, that negative energy they gave out had to splash back in their face. You see what I'm saying? It had to splash back in their face, so it could be neutralized. That's why if somebody take your eye out, you gotta take their eye out. If I can't see, we can't see. That's my eye. I can't function without my eye. You took my power away. That's the difference. I don't want to keep going out of subject, but when I get to talking, I get to talking. The difference between eye for eye and revenge, because y'all says do not take revenge, but he also says eye for eye, tooth for tooth, wound for wound, etc. You might be scratching your head like, why would he say that if he also said no revenge? Well, the difference between that is revenge is somebody says something about me, spreading rumors that I don't like, so I go and burn their cornfield. That's revenge. But eye for eye, this is important because your parts of your body will give you strength and power on this earth. My hands, my fingers, my eyes, my skin, my arms, my limbs. If these all became amputated, I would not be able to do as many things as I can do right now. Therefore, they took my power away. So why should I, as the victim, have less power than this wicked person who came and poked my eyes out? You should take the power from the wicked so that the wicked has the same amount of power as you, so that they won't have the power to do what they did to you to other people. If you going around taking people's eyes out, you need your eyes taken out so you can't see no more, and you won't be able to take nobody else's eyes out. So that's a completely different thing than revenge. This is logic here. You are protecting people in the future. You are neutralizing the situation because, again, this guy is violent. He's wounding, burning, taking people's eyes out, take people's teeth out. He's violent. So you have to neutralize the situation by taking his power from him so that he does not have the power or the confidence to do that to other people again. You see what I'm saying? So you neutralize the situation. You brought it back to the neutral state where it wants to be. So that's the difference. Because when you take revenge, you just escalate, make it worse. Eye for eye, you don't. You take my power from me, I'll take your power from you. You don't make it worse. You make it balanced. Let me go back to the point. Let me just make a long story short here. I've been talking for a while. In the future, you're going to start seeing increased rates of European Americans, specifically in the Southeast Territories of the United States, being attacked, wounded, and eaten by alligators. It's going to be on the news. People are going to start noticing it. It's going to be memed. Everything. There's going to be more increased attacks by alligators against this certain demographic of people because of what their ancestors did to us. Again, that energy has to come back. I can't slap water and expect it not to slap me in the face. It doesn't work like that. Now, the reason why I said I feel like it's going to happen soon, don't quote me on this part, guys. This is not a prophecy. I'm not prophesying anything right here. This is an educated guess, a hypothesis, if you will. Hurricane Milton is about to hit Florida. Hurricane Milton, they say, is about to be Category 5, Katrina level. And they say it's going to be like something Florida never seen in a while. And I already know even smaller hurricanes, Category 3s, have been known to take alligators out of their swamps and put them in people's swimming pools. So I already know that this thing is going to put alligators in playgrounds, parks, backyards, swimming pools, basketball courts, everything. Now, like I said, that's not a prophecy. I'm not prophesying this. So if it doesn't happen, guys, don't sit up here and be like, oh, he's a false prophet. That was a hypothesis. That was an educated guess. Okay? But if it doesn't happen, it's going to happen in the future, man. Because that energy has to come back. It is what it is. If alligators don't do it, something else is going to be messing with their children. In Florida, specifically, guys. Some type of disease is going to spread around. It's going to be killing babies left and right of a certain demographic. Something. If it's not alligators, it's going to be something. Because, again, you take our children, y'all got to take your children. Now, recently, I uploaded a short about karma. Karma is just a word that we know. So people are saying that I'm Buddhist or Hindu because I use the word karma. I use the word karma for the same reason I use the word God, because not everybody is going to understand the word Alila Ki Alila, action for action, YAH's judgment, and on top of that, it's the first word that pops in my mind. I'm sorry. So anyway, not everybody thinks karma is real, but how can you not believe in it? Go to Exodus 34:7. It literally says, YAH by no means ever clears the guilty, which means that if somebody does something wrong, something bad has to happen to them. It has to happen to them. He said, so, and hey, not even just in their lifetime. If you don't see it happen in their lifetime, guess what? It's going to happen to their children or their children's children. Because it said, visiting the iniquities of the fathers unto the third and fourth generation. You understand? So that's how y'all describe the karmatic cycle. And that's what we see in reality. I do dumb shit. 16 years out of my life, my children get born, and they got to go through a struggle because of the things that I did. And if they don't break those generational curses, they're going to pass it on to their children. And the only way you break generational curses is through righteousness and basically good behavior, doing good things. That's the only way you can break generational curses. Incorporating Torah in your life in some way or the other. That's the only way you can break generational curses. If you continue to follow the path of foolishness, guess what? YAH's judgment is going to be on your children. And that's the situation the children of Yasharal found themselves in. Okay? Because we've been doing foolishness for so long without even thinking, without even stopping to think, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this stuff anymore because we keep suffering. Right? We didn't stop and think. No. So yeah, it's real, guys. It happens. It's either gonna happen to you, or it's gonna happen to you, your children. And another thing, guys, if you do something to other people when they least expected it, your karma is gonna come to you when you least expect it. Let me explain. Children of Israel, right? Exodus, walking through the desert. Here comes the Amalekites. Amalekites make war with the children of Yasharal. Children of Yasharal was not prepared for war. So the Amalekites kill a lot of Yasharali men, women, and children. And Yah said, never forget. But of course, Israelites, we overpowered the Amalekites and we got rid of them. We won that battle. But Yah still said, never forget Amalek and what he did to you when you were walking through the wilderness minding your own business. He understood the intention and he seen the energy that they had to the children of Israel. They wanted to annihilate the children of Israel, but they could not succeed. So that was the energy they gave out. They wanted to annihilate us. That was the energy they gave out, even though they didn't succeed in it, but they wanted to. That was the energy they still gave out. So it was 400 years later, Yah decided, he said, David, annihilate he told Saul, but then he told David, annihilate these Amalekites. I mean, kill every single man, woman, child, and animal in their cities. And you might say, that's cruel. Why would he say commit genocide? Because that was their energy. They wanted to commit genocide against us. Yah only works with energy. He don't work with all this emotion and, oh, that don't seem right, oh, blah, blah. No. Yah only works with the physics, the energy, the law, the frequency, the vibration of the universe. And because they put out a specific frequency, that frequency had to come back to them. So essentially, we annihilated the Amalekites. I mean, some survived, but for the most part, we annihilated the Amalekites. Because that's what they wanted to do to us. That was the energy they had towards us. See how that works? And it doesn't always happen that generation. Again, this happened 400 years later, guys.